I'm back in sunny Sanur, beautiful Sanur, in the back streets once again. I've got a really croaky voice because I've gotten sick actually, gotten quite sick. More sick than I normally would in Indonesia, and it's an interesting thing that I sort of want to talk about today is getting sick here because you don't get sick that often in my experience. The plan today is to go beachside and try out a couple of new places, see what we can find in the back streets, speak to a few people. Let's get stuck in. So let's talk about the voice. Well, I don't know what I've got. Some sort of cold and sore throat. Not terrible, but quite intense for a short period of time. Not sure what's going on there. I don't get colds that often here in Indonesia. I find that in the tropics, you're less likely to get a cold than if you were sort of sitting at home or going to the office or commuting to work every day in a colder country during the middle of winter. I mean, that sort of makes sense because a lot of these things are seasonal anyway. But you can get a cold here, and I've got one, that's for sure, and it's not great. The last time I was this sick here in Indonesia was in February 2020, just before the COVID outbreak. I remember I'd had to go to Jakarta for something on the train, and I already had heard about COVID spreading around the world and that sort of stuff because China had lockdown and you couldn't fly there and that sort of thing. But of course, the rest of the world was not really worried about it. And the train that I was on was packed, this economy train, and everyone was coughing and sneezing. I thought, oh, I'm gonna get sick here. And then of course I did, I got really sick. I got really, really sick. And I was in bed for about a week during that period of sickness. Who knows what it was, but I was pretty sick, and I haven't been as sick as that until now. Well, I mean, I'm not that sick now, but I'm quite sick. You know, it's getting sort of to that level. One of the things that Indonesians love to do is minum obat. And one of the classic ones is to have a little sachet of Tolak Angin. It's like this jamu concoction, a syrup, to ward off. Oh, here we go. I was gonna come here. Not happening. That's Series Coffee Roasters, by the way. That's where I was planning to go just now, just for a quick coffee. Closed Fridays. Probably should have done my research. But Tolak Angin you can buy in all the mini markets and that sort of stuff. And what it actually means, literally, is to reject wind. And it sounds a bit odd. Why would they say reject wind as the name of a product? Well, it's because there is a thing in Indonesia called masuk angin. Masuk angin, yeah? Enter wind. And it sounds ridiculous. So over the years, I've tried to drill down on people on exactly what this means. And I think I've got the actual essence of it now, because most Indonesians, if you speak to different Indonesians, will have a different definition of what it means. Some people just say, oh, it means getting a cold. Some people say it means getting an upset stomach. Some people say, oh, it means a general unwellness. Some people say it's getting a chill if you're riding on a motorbike without a jacket on. There's a whole range of things that, might go down this road here actually. A whole range of different things that people can explain to you what it means. But I think what it really means is just getting some sort of illness that is not defined. Yeah, you don't want to call it a cold. You don't want to call it, you know, food poisoning. It's just, oh, masuk angin. So having a bit of that Tolak Angin helps you get rid of some of those illnesses. A lot of Indonesians love that stuff. I've actually seen it like on, like, you know, the TikTok style videos that people do around the place, and people for the first time coming to Indonesia. Oh, I was about to do a fake accent there, but it might be a bit offensive to some people. But people basically saying, "Oh, there's this thing in Indonesia called Tolak Angin. You've got to try it." And well, it's pretty normal here. So I'm at the bypass, and I've got to a place where there's no natural crossing spot. So I'm going to have to jump over the garden, I think, to get across there, because there's a little road I want to get across to over there, called Jalan Pungutan. That's the road that goes all the way up to the Sindhu night market, but it actually reaches the bypass around here. Here we go, easy as. This side, what are we going to do? Not too bad. Okay, we're into Jalan Pungutan. Now, the seasons have changed already here in Bali. After those floods we had about, what was it, a month ago? We're now sort of end of March, and it seems though the wet season has well and truly disappeared. We're not getting that much rain. It rains occasionally, but not every day now. It hasn't rained every day for a good couple of weeks, actually. So you don't get the nightly rains, you don't get rain during the day. You get it sometimes, but it's just not every day. So that's really nice, and you get a big change in the way that the place looks. Oh, hello, look cute. For example, the roads are a lot drier and you don't get all these mud patches around the place, and you can go out for a walk without fear of getting wet. So that's quite nice, and the skies are sort of clearing up a little bit as well. I actually don't worry about that wet season too much. I think it's a fine time to come to Bali anyway, especially if you don't have a heap of choices. Like, if you could choose any time of year, of course, and money was no object and timing was no object, of course you'd probably choose middle of the dry season. It's cooler and less rain. But it doesn't mean that the wet season's bad. A lot of people say, oh, I wouldn't go there in the wet season, it's a little bit rainy for me. No, I actually don't think that is the case. It rains sometimes, but usually you have a pretty good stint here without too many disruptions. You might get 1 or 2 days that are a washout, but I mean, if you're here to relax anyway, it doesn't really matter. Coming back from Java sort of is really interesting feeling for me, because I'm coming home to Bali, because Bali's my home now, and that's something quite interesting to sort of think about. Because when you holiday in Bali, obviously there's this special feeling when you finally arrive in Bali that sort of like a sack of potatoes comes off your shoulders and you are relaxed and loving it. But it's a little bit different when you live here. A little bit different when you live here. Because I'm used to this place now, it just feels like home. It does feel good still, but in a different way, in a much different way. So for me, Bali is Indonesia on easy mode. Easy. Everything you want, you can get. You never sort of have to want for anything. Whereas I think when you go to Java, there are always some hardships of some sort. I mean, they're not a big deal, but you might not get a steak when you want one, for example. Or you might not get a pizza. There's like a lot of that sort of stuff as far as food goes, especially. But it's the same with transport, and everything's just a little bit more difficult because it's not really geared towards the lifestyles that we want. Now, I don't mind that so much because I've lived in Java for 12 years. I sort of am used to it. So coming back to Bali just feels easy for me. And of course, everything that I like, all my comforts are here in my home as well. And it's always nice to get back in your own bed. Hey, yeah. So I might just chop down Gang Jasmine, which is what I'm on now. So I've turned right off Jalan Pungutan down Gang Jasmine, and this leads me all the way to the main road, Jalan Danau Tumblingan. I love a bit of a walk up there. I mean, it's pretty early in the morning at the moment. What is it? Is it 7:30? It's 7:45, so I'm getting tailed by a dog at the moment. Hello. There's another villa for rent. Good location. Looks brand new as well. All around here, it's just villa. I don't know how much they cost, but I reckon it could be expensive. Everything over this side of the bypass is just really expensive these days. You really need to get something a little bit smaller for it to be affordable. This place, really love it. You'll know that. Linda Villa 2. Beautiful place. That's about, 500,000 a night usually, that place. I reckon it's great value. Nice big pool in it. Rooms are really clean. Another place I've stayed in here is Sweet Corner Guest House, on the cheaper end. So if you're on a budget, you can really save a heap of money there. That was about, I think, 300,000 or something. And a tiny little swimming pool. Just wonderful value. But you do get a smaller room and a smaller space, but it's all right. Mas dari mana?
Dari Malang.
Malang. Oh, Jawa Timur.
Jawa Timur.
Oh, lagi bangun ini ya?
Ya, proyek itu.
Proyek ya? Bikin villa?
Villa. Renovasi.
Oh, renovasi. Oh, udah lama proyek ini?
Udah lama, kemarin sebelum Lebaran.
Oh, sebelum. Mas pulang kampung? Enggak?
Ya, pulang kampung. Terus kemarin baru ke sini.
Dan kena macet?
Kenapa?
Macet?
Macet, tanggal 15 itu macet.
Oh, kalau balik lagi, arus baliknya oke? Atau?
Oke.
Oh, tapi kalau mudik, macet sekali ya?
Iya.
Naik apa ke sana?
Travel.
Dan berapa lama harus nunggu di pelabuhan?
15 jam.
Aduh. Oke, makasih ya.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. That's all that mudik thing, the whole thing where people go home for the religious holiday, the Muslim end of Ramadan, Idul Fitri. and Lebaran. That's been going on forever here. So I read a book, it's called A House in Bali, about a dude an American dude who lived in Bali in the 1920s and 30s, and his builders were from Java as well, and even they had to go home for Lebaran and didn't come back for like 6 months or something like that. Like, it's a lot quicker now, but yeah, people still do that. Especially all those builders and all those labourers, they'll definitely be going home for Lebaran, always. The thing about Java for me is that you interact differently with the locals than you do here, especially in the south of Bali. I mean, if you go into more rural areas of Bali, it's perhaps a bit different, but certainly here in the south of Bali, you're sort of a little bit invisible, and that interaction is a little bit more difficult because you're just part of the furniture here. There are just so many foreigners here that it's normal. But when you go to somewhere like Java, you stand out a little bit, and people genuinely want to engage with you. And so I find that I engage a lot more with locals when I'm in Java about anything. You know, when I lived there, I was always chatting to new people about different things, that, you know, going into a coffee shop or walking down the road, always talking about, you know, where I'm from, what I'm doing, how long I've been there. Whereas here, it's not quite like that. You've got to make a little bit more of an effort. You've got to actually go up to someone and genuinely try to interact with them. Now, that's not blaming anyone for anything. That's just reality, you know, because this is a tourist destination. But what that does mean, especially when it comes to local Balinese people, is that you rarely have genuine interactions with them unless you can get behind the scenes. Go for a walk into the backstreets and meet up with someone, or go to the rice field and speak to a farmer, that sort of stuff, rather than, yeah, it's just a little bit more difficult on the main street to go and have a genuine discussion with people. I mean, it doesn't mean it can't happen, it's just more difficult. And that's what I really like about Java. When you travel in Java, you know, you're always just having a chat with people, which I really love. I've got to say, the main street's looking absolutely beautiful at the moment, just so clean and tidy with these new gutters and everything, and people aren't really parking around the place illegally and that sort of stuff. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That place there is Copy Kiosk that I just walked past. I don't want to stick my camera in there because there's a lot of foreigners in there who might get upset by me sticking my camera in there. Normally, I try and avoid that. That sort of interaction where I just stick a camera in someone's face, especially with foreigners, because they're usually less friendly, basically, yeah, especially here in Bali, less friendly. And I have had a few people tell me to not film them and that sort of stuff. Whereas with Indonesians, it's a lot more socially acceptable to make content and film and that sort of stuff. Oh, this is a good place. You've got to come here. That's Warung Rainbow. Unreal food. Local prices, very small, staff are wonderful, and it's just a really good way to spend an evening and have a few little bits and pieces. Over the past few months, we've sort of been learning a bit of Indonesian on the channel, and one of the most important things you probably want to learn is how to order something. That was one of the things that I got confused by when I first started learning the language, because in English we sort of say, I would like, or may I have, or can I have. You know, these sorts of words at the start of when you order something. I would like is a classic one. I'd like this. But you don't say that in Indonesian at all. So don't translate it, because it doesn't work. So what we say in Indonesian, in a very formal and a little bit stiff way, is you would say, saya mau pesan. I want to order. That's the standard way of doing it. But it does sound a little bit stiff, so when you get a little bit better, you'll drop the pronoun, you'll drop the saya, and you'll just say, mau pesan, yeah? But you can use saya, it's fine, doesn't hurt at all. In fact, I would actually recommend using the full sentence. Hello, no thanks. I'd actually recommend using the full sentence when you're first learning, because it sort of makes a bit more sense. Saya mau pesan. Saya mau pesan bir, for example. Yeah, when you're looking at menus and that sort of stuff. There's another word which is very useful when ordering, and it's minta. Yeah, minta basically means request. So a full sentence would be, boleh saya minta this. Yeah, may I request this? When you're want something from someone. Now that's very formal, and you could say that in some circumstances. You've got to know how to say that before you start sort of getting into the shortcuts. So definitely try it out. Boleh saya minta? May I request? Da 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 da. Now that applies to anything. You might be wanting a taxi from someone. Boleh saya minta taxi? Or if you're in the hotel, boleh saya minta? Or in a restaurant, boleh saya minta sendok for a spoon? That's really important to know. Now, as you get a little bit more skilled at that, it changes a bit. Yeah? And you start dropping words, and it becomes a little less formal, a little less stiff, and you get to basically saying minta this, request that. That's it, one word. Oh yeah, minta bill, request bill. Minta satu lagi, yeah? I request one more of whatever it is, like a beer, minta satu lagi ya. You can even, like when you get really casual, you can even drop the minta satu lagi ya. That's it. Or bill ya. It's like you just say words, and it's really short. But I mean, you really need to sort of walk before you can run, and that's why I always say you should learn the full sentence, which is boleh saya minta, may I request. So I'm in this really shaded area with these large trees near Starbucks, and the reason I'm here, this was sort of my destination for today anyway. I'm coming to a place called Ollie, which is a new bakery in town, and they do cakes and tarts and that sort of stuff. And I sort of class myself as a pretty good judge of whether a particular cake or pastry is good or not. I'm a pretty harsh critic too, so I'm going to go in there and see what it's like. Actually, I haven't found it yet. I'm just near the Basaki Hotel across the road, and Coconut Tree is there. I think it's around here somewhere. I've driven past it around here somewhere. Where is it? Is it this place? No, not that. It's Donna Spa. Here it is. I can see a sign. Ollie Baked Goods. So that's the Basaki, and that's Ollie Baked Goods. Let's have a look. They're open at 8 a.m. apparently, so we'll see what it's like. Nice fit out, very Japanese style. Hello, Pagi. Good, how are you? Whoa. Oh yeah, what's the fresh ones?
The sausage rolls are quite popular.
Yeah.
Pasta just came out.
Yeah.
And then chicken pot pie puff is also pretty.
Right. Not really into that. What about the sweet ones? What have we got? Are these available right now or not?
Yeah, for the sweets, the lemon tart and the mixed berry tart.
Are they fresh? Or were they yesterday?
Yeah, they were made this morning.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, I'll have to have a look at that. All right, I'll have lemon tart.
Lemon tart.
And then I'll have, I might do cheesecake as well.
Lemon tart cheesecake.
And then a hot cappuccino.
That'll be-
Yeah, for here. Yeah. Are you the owner of the place?
What was that?
Are you the owner?
Yeah, me and my wife.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so my wife is the baker. I'm in the hot kitchen.
Oh, where are you originally from?
I'm from the U.S., but she's from.
So you were born in the US?
Yeah, US.
So you got no Indonesian skills?
No.
So when I was speaking so when I spoke Indonesian at the start, you're like, oh shit, this guy's speaking.
Yeah, I was like,
Right, okay, that makes sense. And your wife is originally from where?
Jakarta.
Jakarta. Oh, right. Well, that's cool. Very cool. So, sorry, what's your name?
Weni.
Weni. So Weni is the owner of this place. She's originally from Jakarta. She's married to Raymond. He's originally Ray from the US, and there's only been open for 2 weeks. Now, you said you were baking these every day. Like every day you have to get up early and start baking. What time do you start baking?
So I come to the bakery at 5, and then I'm turning off the oven
Yeah.
and everything, and then 5:30 I start to bake like the sourdough.
Yeah.
As you can see, there's sourdough whole wheat, sourdough baguette,
Yeah.
sourdough focaccia,
Nice.
the sourdough, and then cookie, sausage roll. So
Wow.
I start like early, and my
Oh.
team start also like at 6.
Wow. All right. That's pretty cool, eh? I love these new businesses start up and seeing the owners here, and you sort of have to do that here in Indonesia. Is if you have a business, if you sort of set it up and then just leave it and then get people to run it for you, you can't really rely on that working. I mean, maybe after a while you can, but you sort of need to be there, because if you own a place, you're the only person that really knows how you want it to be run, and you can't rely on other people to do it for you. It's probably the same in the West as well. I'd say with a cafe, a lot of owners run their own cafes in the West as well, like somewhere in Australia. But here, especially, I've seen so many cafes go downhill where the owner will be there for the first couple of weeks and then leave. They think it's just like an investment. They've got this good idea. And the place goes downhill real quickly because there's no standards being kept. So it's really nice to see that Wenny and Ray are here getting this place going because it's going to need it. You know, the quality really needs to be focused on, I guess. So that's the lemon tart there, and that's the cheesecake. I'm just going to like dig into, well, I'll do the cheesecake first. That's 55. The lemon tart is 40,000. Let's have a look. I'm excited because it does look good. Yeah, that's good. That has little bits of lemon curd on top, some crumb or something on top as well, biscuit crumb, but really soft. It's quite a stiff, solid cheesecake. It's really beautiful. Oh, and the base is excellent. So the next one here is this lemon tart. Okay, let's have a look. That's what the tart, I mean, I might even, rather than destroying it with a fork, I might just pick it up. Well, that base is going to come undone. That base is a bit biscuity, so it's quite a hard base, but that curd in there, it's amazing. Wow, that is amazing, amazing curd. It reminds me of, it's got quite a tang to it, and what it reminds me of is the Casaluna lime tart in Ubud. It's that good. That is a very, very good tart. Very good. In fact, both of those are top notch, especially for Sanur, which doesn't have that much of this stuff anyway. All right, let's do a taste test on this coffee. It looks good. Got a little swan on it. I actually didn't have high hopes for the coffee, honestly. I've had a lot of average coffees around the place in bakeries, and this is a very good one. A very good one. So it's like top 5 in Sanur for me, honestly. I know I say there's lots of good coffees, but this is a really good one. Thank you. See ya. All right, thank you. See you later, Ray. Have a good one. See ya. All right, we're done there at Ollie. Look at that place. Beautiful new place here in Sanur. It's really modern, and I think Sanur needs that sort of place. Something a bit more sort of cutting edge, and the flavours are just bang on. It's not pretentious. So that's what I really like about it as well, is that sometimes you get these more modern places and they're all about style over substance, but that place, the flavours are just so good. That tart especially, no word of a lie, it rates up there with that very good one over at Casaluna in Ubud. The flavour of that curd, brilliant. Good coffee. Yeah, really love that place. That is a new place that you're going to have to come when you're here in Sanur. As I was walking along here earlier, I came across a lady that's in a wheelchair coming along the footpath, and she was making great progress up and down this footpath, basically because the new footpath just makes it so flat for wheelchairs and prams to get around without any hassle. And I think that's one of the great things about these footpaths now, is that, you know, if you're in a wheelchair, if you've got prams, you don't really have to worry too much. There are some problems occasionally. For example, like there's a motorbike parked up here on the footpath that shouldn't be there, but a wheelchair can get past that. But it's, you know, if you get blocked and you're in a wheelchair, you're going to be having a bit of a problem, I guess. I was just thinking about something I was watching last night where someone called Nusalembongan with a hard G. And it got me thinking about how in Indonesian language you can tell whether it's a hard G or not simply by the way that it's spelled. So I'll go through the basic rule of the NG and NGG. So if you see the word tangga, T-A-N-G-G-A, which is stare, you know it's a hard G because it has 2 G's in it. But if you see a word with only 1 G, so NG only, like Singaraja, you know that there's no hard G in there. So you don't say Singaraja, you say Singaraja. And that can be sort of replicated through all the words in Indonesian. There's another word which is proud called bangga. Yeah, again, double G. anggota, which means member, double G, hard G, anggota. But then you've got a word which is tangan, which means hand. Tangan, it's only got one G, so NG only. It's a soft G, tangan, like the word sing. So that's the general rule. And that goes for the word, for example, cheningan as well. You said cheningan, it's not chenigan. There's no hard G because there's only one G in that word. While I'm up this end of town, I thought I might go to that Sindhu market, see what it's like in the morning. I've actually never been there in the morning to see what's going on there. I've only ever been there at night when it's the Sindhu night market where you can get all that local food. So if you don't know where that market is, it's just up here and it's quite central in the middle of town. I mean, slightly north, but just off the main road anyway. It's where the road changes to Jalan Danau Toba up that way. Yeah? If you go left, that's Jalan Pungutan again, which is the one that I came on at the start of the video. So that's where the main road there changes into Jalan Danau Toba, and then down there, that's Jalan Pungutan. And then down here is the Pasar Tradisional, traditional market. So that says Pasar Tradisional Desa Sanur, but that's a little bit strange to me because this is not Desa Sanur at all. We're in Desa Intaran. So I don't know why it's Desa Sanur. Maybe the naming got changed at some point. Whatever the case, it's the Sanur traditional market. There is another traditional market over at over the other side of the bypass, which is a little bit bigger in Desa Intaran. It's called Pasar Intaran. And in here, there's all sorts of different sections. Like there's a meat section there, which I don't really like to look at too much. Lots of fruit. There's a bit of a smell to it. And then all the different stalls, sugarcane and all sorts of veggies and stuff. Now, if you're into getting stuff cheap, this is a cheaper way to get your fruit and veg, but you do have to negotiate a little bit and know what prices are doing. So prices are up and down based on seasons, and you're really going to need to keep an eye on what's going on with the market to know what price you should get it for. It's sometimes a little bit of a hassle if you're not really up on it and you just want to go and pick some stuff up. That's why a lot of people just go to a normal supermarket these days, because they don't want the hassle. But yeah, local people will come here because obviously they know what the prices are. They know the people who are selling down here, and yeah, they can get the good prices. Worth a look though. I mean, if you're here for any extended period of time, I mean, it's worth a look down here, see if you can get some better bargains, but you will have to look at prices first at the supermarket to see if you're getting a better price here. Absolutely love Sanur because it's unpretentious. It just doesn't have some of the pretentiousness that a lot of other places in Bali now have. You know, with that whole influencer scene where image is everything, I really can't stand it, and Sanur doesn't really have that at all, and that's what I love about it. It has a more traditional feel about it, even though it's modern. Sanur is quite modern to the rest of Bali, compared to the rest of Bali, and people are a little bit more wealthy, but it still has a traditional feel to it, which I really love as well. And people are friendly, and you can just go and walk around town like this and have a very full and complete day without actually having done much at all. And that's one of the main reasons I love calling Sanur home, and I love coming back here after going away on a holiday somewhere else like Java, or sometimes I go to Japan and that sort of thing. It's just always nice to come back here. It feels like home. Thanks for bearing with me and my croaky voice today. Hopefully over the next few days it gets a little bit better, and I'll be able to cope a little bit better with speaking into the camera for half an hour at a time. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.